Welcome back, friends. In the first part of this series, we explored the early challenges faced by Singapore and the visionary leadership of Lee Kuan Yew. If you haven't seen the first part yet, I highly recommend you to check it out first. In this second part, we will explore deeper into the role of workforce, the focus on healthcare, and how Singapore transformed into a modern-day miracle. The biggest hero of this story is Lee Kuan Yew. He was not the only one responsible for this, but he is the biggest hero. What did Lee Kuan Yew and his team do?
What made the difference in Singapore was that a group of men in 1960, we decided that we are going to live only one life. We must die. If we have to die, we will die for a cause worthy of our lives. That made Singapore possible.
The first step that they took was urbanization. And for urbanization, the first goal was to get rid of slums, because it is not possible to industrialize with slums. In 1960, the Housing Development Board was set up. The sole aim was to provide housing to the people. Singapore faced a severe housing shortage. About 30% of its population were squatted in slums and shanty huts. These were very ambitious schemes because more than 50% of the population was living in such slums. Even today, a vast majority of people are living in houses provided by the government. The government came forward and built multi-story housing complexes. Public housing complexes were built so that the lower and middle classes could move into these houses. Second most important thing was industrialization. How to attract foreign companies. The Economic Development Board was established in 1961. The government understood that Singapore is such a small country that it cannot depend on agriculture. To boost industrialization, it needed to attract foreign investors. And for this, the Economic Development Board came up with a brilliant scheme. In 1968, the Jorong Industrial Estate was constructed, an industrial park where foreign companies could set up their manufacturing plants. These foreign companies were given tax incentives, attractive tax cuts were provided, and as the new industries were set up, job opportunities were created. People got employment. The skilled labor force is essential for industrialization. For this, the government made radical reforms in the education sector. Institutes of technical education were established. The emphasis was laid on science and mathematics. The goal was to have a high-quality workforce. That's why they spent a lot of money on education. In 1981, the National University of Singapore was set up, an institute which today is considered to be one of the best universities in the world. Lee Kuan Yew was very clear about what kind of government he wanted.
Singapore is not a hotel where people come and go. This is my country. This is my life. This is my people. You will trample over us, over our dead bodies.
His aim was to root out corruption from the country, and it was not an easy task. It is said that the strict authoritarian government of King Raja Ram Mohan Roy of Nepal inspired him. Lee Kuan Yew introduced strict laws to root out corruption. A strict law was enforced against corruption. The wages of government officials were increased. The ministers were given high wages, but the punishment for corruption was also made stricter, to such an extent that ministers could face death penalty if found guilty of corruption. One of the first ministers to be charged with corruption was his own friend, Diwan Nair, a good friend of Lee Kuan Yew and a founding member of PAC. He was caught in a corruption case and Lee Kuan Yew did not think twice before putting him in jail, after which the government officials were more cautious about corruption. Additionally, the laws for public health and cleanliness were strictly enforced. As I said, it was not an easy task. The strict laws were heavily criticized by human rights activists. Lee Kuan Yew had a vision for Singapore. He wanted Singapore to be a first world country, so he focused on industrialization, foreign investments, and education, and along with it, urbanization. And the workforce had a significant role in it. One of the best ways to ensure a high-quality workforce is by investing in their health. That's why the government spent a lot of money on healthcare as well. Today, Singapore's healthcare system is considered to be one of the best in the world. In 1965, when Singapore became independent, the average life expectancy was 65 years. Today, it is 84 years. It is 8th highest life expectancy in the world. Today, Singapore is one of the most developed countries in the world. A country where you can see perfect balance between nature and urbanization. Singapore, a small city-state that has developed into one of the world's most successful countries. Singapore is the second most competitive economy in the world, after the USA. It is a global financial hub. One of the busiest ports in the world, the Port of Singapore. And the airport, Singapore Changi Airport, is considered one of the best airports in the world. Singapore Airlines is one of the best airlines. In the last 5 years, Singapore has topped the Global Passport Index. Singaporeans have the most powerful passport in the world. The best passport in the world because 193 countries have a visa-free or visa on arrival entry for Singaporean passport holders. This is the story of Singapore. This miraculous transformation was possible due to Lee Kuan Yew's visionary leadership and the determination of the people of Singapore. The strict laws and policies ensured a corruption-free, clean and efficient system. The focus on industrialization, education and healthcare provided a high-quality workforce. The housing policies ensured a better living standard for the people. The story of Singapore is an inspiration for many developing countries. It shows that even a small country with limited resources can achieve miraculous transformation with right leadership and policies. Thank you for watching and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories from around the world. See you next time. Until then, stay curious, stay informed.